Yeah, 2014 was quite a tough season. I ended up getting sick, battling all the way through the year in the MX2 class. I sort of put everything into that year by just trying to finish for them guys, you know. And ended up getting dropped by the team that I was riding for that year, and then I was left without racing Supercross and not being able to prove myself. We moved on to 2015 where I was left without a ride. I headed over to New Zealand, working with Josh Coppins. You know, I wasn't ready going into round one of the New Zealand Motocross Championships, but we just did what we could. It was the right guys that I wanted in my corner. At the end of the season, I finally won the championship, and Josh said that he would like to help me here in Australia. And I didn't have race bikes, practice bikes or anything here in Australia. And so my testing, I did it on the Saturday at round one, engine testing, trying to run the bike in and stuff like that. But at Horsham, I got quite a good start. The overall for the day, I finished 4th, which was not too bad. We got through Moto 1, and I was just about to leave to go to the airport. My brother was there racing, and yeah, it all went bad.
Yeah, second race I was hanging off a pit board, and yeah, D was riding like a shot cat because he'd got a bad start, and yeah, so I remember the last 2 things I wrote on the pit board was settle.
Saw the race got red flagged, so I ran down the back, and yeah, it was, yeah, D was down at the back of the track and wasn't looking good.
Initially when there was a red flag over on one of the tabletops, and that's why I thought they'd stop the race, and I was waiting for D to come around, and then I think it was Scott Bishop came up and said, "Is that D down the back?" And when I ran down the back down there, they were working on him.
You know, they're trying to keep him alive, trying to get him alive, you know, and it's probably the last thing I wanted to hear coming from a flag marshal. I grabbed his bike and just sat there. I didn't want to see him that way, you know, the way that I got told he was. So I went back up to the race safe truck, and that's when they put him into an induced coma there on the track. And Dad was just shattered, you know. He couldn't speak to Mum, or couldn't tell her what was going on. It was just breaking his heart, I guess.
There was a long time at the track, and then a long 3 hours back, or 3.5 hours back to Melbourne Hospital.
He had quite a bit of swelling around the brain, and they were going to drill a hole in the brain in the skull to try to release the pressure. And we were lucky enough that they were changing shifts, the doctors and stuff, and another doctor come in and said, "Look, he's too young, we don't want to do it, and we're going to monitor it for the next day." While he was in ICU, he was in and out a lot. Like we might only see him for 10 minutes of the day for a whole day, maybe in 30-second splits, you know, of him opening his eyes and looking around but not speaking to us. And there was no time that I really remember of him waking up and looking at me, because it was just like he would open his eyes and look straight through me. So it was quite scary, to be honest with you.
It almost took until I got home to realise that I was pretty well done for the year. And the whole time I was in hospital, I thought I was ready to get back on the bike, because I was pretty well messed up in the head, like just recovery-wise, and I wasn't all there. That whole time was pretty frustrating, like the whole 6 months when I wasn't allowed to really do anything, because yeah, just couldn't risk hitting my head, or I had to have rest. Yeah, I wanted to get out of the house as much as I could, and it was good. I got to go to the track with Jay, and Jay enjoyed having someone at the track with him, just pitboarding and filling his bike up. Yeah, if anything, it's bringing me and Jay closer, which is good. When we're together, we kind of make the most of it and try to get along as much as we can.
The last thing that was on my mind was riding a motorbike. I just wanted to be by Dee's side, and I didn't care about anything else at that point.
I knew that in Dee's mind, he would want Jay to go racing, and I knew that Dee would be really disappointed if he knew that Jay didn't go because of him. And and Appen brought out the best in him.
Yeah, I was quite wrecked after Appen. The season, sort of where it all kicked off with Cloudy and myself. We were the two guys in for the title. When I was going through all the tough times down here in Melbourne with my brother, and I was speaking to Misty a lot, and I didn't really pick up on it as much as what I probably at the time I thought. But yeah, I started talking to her a fair bit, and she was there for me through all the tough times with Dee, and I was quite happy, and I started to enjoy things outside of motorcycles, I think where I really stomped my foot on the championship was at Shepparton. I didn't finish in front of Cloudy, but at that point we battled for the whole second moto of that race, and we went at it. There was a lot of talk with me getting dropped from Serco Yamaha. Obviously Cloudy was their #1 guy for that season, and I guess everyone thought that I had something to prove, and really to show that I shouldn't have been dropped, I guess. But I'm happy that the way things turned out turned me into the person I am today. Yeah, so we headed to Coolum, and I went there and we had the red plate, and that's where I really wanted to finish this championship on a high, and I ended up taking both moto wins, which I hadn't done all season, and then to win in front of the whole family again, with my brother being there, my parents and my sister.
I think Jay had every excuse in the world that if he didn't win the championship. But I think he just proved how strong he was. And he went through and he put everything behind him, losing his ride, losing his factory ride, nearly losing his brother, to realising that there's a lot of people behind him.
The support that they gave me, it was just unbelievable that we got the championship at the end of the year. I couldn't believe that with this such small budget that we had and everything that was sort of against us, we got it done. I got the call to say that I was selected to represent Australia at the Motocross of Nations. Obviously it was a life goal to represent your country at the Motocross of Nations, which is like the Olympics of motocross. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in Europe, and I wanted to win another world championship. The first day I was there, I was out moto on this quite a rocky track. Made this jump perfect on the back, and I landed on the backside of this step up, little double step up thing, and front washed away from me unexpectedly, and rock ended up stabbing the side of my stomach and slicing my stomach muscle. And I knew at that point when I was laying on the ground, I was in a lot of pain, and I knew that it was bad. I didn't want to believe it, and no one wanted to believe it. We rushed to hospital and ended up going into surgery that night and having to get my stomach stitched up. And it wasn't fair on my country and on the other guys for me to ride. I was lucky enough that the Crank Protein Honda racing team threw me a deal, and that's where we are now in preparation for 2016 Motocross Nationals. I'll never be able to replace Josh and Morty, but I can build more relationships like that, and I think with the people in my corner, I've got a very similar team to what I did last year. People that work very closely to me, and I'm looking forward to going racing on the 450. I had goals for 2015 and I achieved a lot of them, and some of them were at my fingertips, you know. By no means am I stopping now. My main goal is to be overseas and be a champion again.